There is something I want to tell you that I do not say often enough, not because it is untrue, but because so few are ready to hear it. You have been so brave, so impossibly, exhaustingly brave, carrying what was never yours to carry, performing a version of yourself that was never the one I created, smiling when you wanted to weep, leading when you needed to be held, and I have watched you every single day, not with judgment, not with disappointment, with aching tenderness, because I have been waiting for this exact moment when you would finally be too tired to pretend. Welcome. We can begin now. I know why you are here. I know the algorithm did not bring you to this video. I did, because something inside you is shifting, and you do not have words for it yet. You only have feelings. Strange, disorienting feelings. A tiredness that sleep does not fix. An emptiness that achievement does not fill. A longing for something you cannot name. Something you are not even sure exists. And in the midst of all this, a quiet terror. Because you have built your entire life on being strong, on being capable, on being the one who holds it all together. And now, for the first time, you feel yourself coming undone, and you do not know if this is breakdown or breakthrough. You do not know if you are losing yourself or finally finding yourself. So let me tell you right now, before we go any further, what is actually happening to you. You are not breaking. You are not failing. You are not losing your mind or your strength or your value. What is happening to you is holy. What is happening to you is necessary. What is happening to you is the answer to a prayer you did not even know you were praying. You have been living from a place that was never meant to sustain you. You have been operating in survival mode for so long that you forgot it was survival mode. You thought it was just life. You thought the exhaustion was normal. You thought the emptiness was just what adulthood felt like. But your soul knows better. Your soul has always known better. And now, finally, mercifully, it is refusing to let you continue. This is the shift. This is what it feels like when the feminine within you begins to rise. And I need you to understand this has nothing to do with whether you are a man or a woman. This is not about gender. This is about the way you were designed. Every soul I have ever created carries two energies, two capacities, two ways of being in the world. One is the energy of doing, of striving, of pushing forward, of making things happen. The world has taught you that this is the only energy that matters, that this is what success looks like, that this is what strength requires. And so you have lived almost entirely from this place. You have achieved. You have produced. You have proven yourself over and over and over again. But there is another energy. There has always been another energy. The energy of being, of receiving, of resting, of trusting, of allowing yourself to be held. This is the energy you have abandoned. This is the energy you have been afraid of. And this is the energy that is now demanding to be reclaimed. I want you to stay with me through this entire message. Not because I need your attention, but because you need what I am about to give you. You need the understanding that will turn your confusion into clarity. You need the permission that will turn your shame into freedom. You need the truth that will turn this frightening transition into the most sacred passage of your life. So do not leave. Do not scroll away. Do not tell yourself this is not for you. I brought you here for a reason, and the reason is love. Let me show you what I mean. Let me show you through story, because story is how truth becomes real. Story is how the mind stops arguing and the heart starts understanding. There was a woman. I will not tell you her name, because her name could be your name. Her name could be anyone's name, but I will tell you her life. She was brilliant. She was capable. From the time she was a child, she learned that love came to those who performed. Her father was distant, busy, always working. Her mother was overwhelmed, always needing help. And so this little girl learned early, learned it in her bones, learned it before she had words for it, that she had to be useful to be loved. She had to be helpful to be seen. She had to carry more than her share to earn her place at the table. And she was good at it. So good. She became the best student, the most reliable friend, the hardest worker. She built a life that looked like success from the outside, a career that impressed people, a home that looked put together, a reputation for being the one everyone could count on. But inside, where no one could see, she was running, always running. Running from the terror that if she ever stopped, if she ever slowed down, if she ever needed something instead of providing something, she would be abandoned. She would be too much. She would be exposed as the fraud she secretly believed herself to be. So she kept running, year after year, achievement after achievement, until one day, her body said no. It was not dramatic at first. It was just a tiredness that would not lift. A heaviness in her limbs when she woke up. A fog in her mind that made everything harder. She pushed through it, of course. That is what she had always done. But the tiredness grew. The heaviness deepened. And then came the tears. Tears that made no sense. Tears in the car on the way to work. Tears in the shower where no one could hear. Tears at night when she should have been sleeping. She did not know why she was crying. She only knew she could not stop. She came to me then, not in a church, not in a formal prayer. She came to me in the darkness of her bedroom at 3 a.m, when she could no longer pretend. And she said, with her face in her pillow so no one would hear, she said, "I cannot do this anymore. I do not know who I am. I do not know why I am so tired. Please, if you are real, help me." And I was there. I had always been there, waiting for her to stop running long enough to feel my presence. And do you know what I said to her? I did not say, "Try harder." I did not say, "You need to be more disciplined." I did not say, "Get up and keep going." I asked her a question, one question that changed everything. I said, "What are you so afraid will happen if you stop?" And in that moment, in the silence that followed that question, she saw it. She saw the lie she had been living from her entire life. She saw the little girl who believed she had to earn her place. She saw the terror that had been driving every achievement, every performance, every exhausting effort to be enough. And she wept. She wept like she had never wept before. Not tears of sadness this time, tears of relief. Because the secret was finally out. The running was finally over. She did not have to pretend anymore. This is what I mean when I talk about the feminine rising. This is what it looks like when the soul says, enough. When the deep self refuses to keep living a lie. When the part of you that knows you were made for more than endless striving finally breaks through the walls you built to contain it. It is not comfortable. It is not pretty. It feels like dying because something is dying, the false self. The performer, the one who learned that love is earned and rest is laziness and need is weakness. That self is passing away. And what remains, what emerges from the ashes, is something truer, something softer, something infinitely stronger. Let me tell you another story, a different kind of story. A story not about a person but about a garden. Because sometimes truth hides better in metaphor than in memory. Imagine a garden, a beautiful garden, planted with care, designed to flourish. This garden had rich soil and good seeds, and everything it needed to grow. But there was one thing this garden feared more than anything else: dependency. This garden had been hurt before. It had trusted the rain, and the rain had not come. It had opened itself to the sun, and the sun had scorched its leaves. And so this garden made a decision, a protective decision, a survival decision. It said, "I will never need anything again. I will not wait for rain. I will not depend on sun. I will find a way to grow on my own." And the garden began to harden. Its soil became packed and dense. It built walls of stone around its edges. It developed thick, tough roots that went deep into the earth, searching for any moisture it could find on its own. And for a while, it worked. The garden survived. It did not flourish, but it survived. It looked strong from the outside, impressive, even. Other gardens admired its independence, its resilience, its ability to need nothing and no one. But slowly, something began to happen. The soil that had hardened to protect the garden was now suffocating it. The roots that had gone so deep in search of self-sufficiency were now exhausted from the effort. And the walls that had kept out the pain were also keeping out the rain. Because rain still fell. You see, it fell every season, generous and abundant. But it could not penetrate the hardened ground. It could not nourish what had closed itself off. It simply ran off the surface and soaked into other gardens, gardens that had remained soft, gardens that had stayed open, gardens that had continued to trust even after being hurt. And the independent garden, it began to wither, not dramatically, not in a way anyone would notice at first, but from the inside out. It was dying, dying of thirst in the midst of abundance, dying of starvation with nourishment falling all around it, dying of the very independence it had believed would save it. This is you. This is what you have done to your soul, not because you are foolish, but because you were hurt, not because you are weak, but because you were trying to be strong in the only way you knew how. You hardened yourself. You closed yourself off. You decided, consciously or unconsciously, that you would never be that vulnerable again, that you would never need that deeply again, that you would never open yourself to the possibility of disappointment again. And now you are withering. Now you are exhausted. Now you are wondering why you feel so empty when you have worked so hard to fill yourself. The shift you are feeling is the softening. It is the breaking up of the hardened soil. It is the crumbling of the walls you built. And yes, it is terrifying, because you do not know what will happen when you are open again. You do not know if the rain will come. You do not know if you will be hurt again. But I am telling you, I am promising you, the rain has never stopped falling. My love has never stopped pouring out. My grace has been falling on you every single day of your life. You just have not been able to receive it. You have been too closed, too protected, too determined to survive on your own. Let the walls come down. Let the soil soften. Let yourself knead again. This is not weakness. This is the bravest thing you will ever do. There is one more story I want to tell you before I move into teaching. This one is personal. This one is close to my heart, because it echoes a story I told long ago, but with a different angle, a different character, a daughter instead of a son. You know the story of the prodigal son, the one who took his inheritance and squandered it in wild living, the one who ended up in a pig pen, starving, broken, ready to come home. But there is another prodigal, one I have never told you about directly, but one I have watched play out in a million lives. The prodigal daughter, and her story is different. She did not leave home to sin. She left home to prove. She was the good child, the responsible one, the one who always did what was expected. But underneath her obedience was a question she could never voice, a doubt she could never admit. She wondered, in the deepest part of her heart. She wondered if she stopped being useful, stopped being perfect, stopped being everything everyone needed her to be, would there still be a place for her at the table? And so she left, not in rebellion, but in desperation. She left to prove herself. She went out into the world to achieve things, to accomplish things, to become someone so impressive that there could be no doubt that she was worthy, no doubt that she deserved love, no doubt that she had earned her place. She worked so hard, harder than anyone around her. She climbed ladders and broke barriers and accumulated all the markers of success the world could offer. But the question never went away. The doubt never lifted, because no matter what she achieved, she could always achieve more. No matter what she proved, there was always another test. She was running on a treadmill with no end, performing for an audience that would never be satisfied, trying to earn something that was never meant to be earned. And then she failed, not in some dramatic, public way, but quietly, privately, she failed. The relationship fell apart, the project collapsed, the body broke down, and all the achievements, all the accomplishments, all the proof, it meant nothing. She was alone, she was exhausted, and she was more uncertain of her worth than she had ever been. She thought about home then. She thought about going back, but she was terrified, because she had nothing to show for herself. She had left to prove her worth, and she was returning empty-handed. Surely, she thought, surely there would be disappointment. Surely there would be judgment. Surely she would have to explain herself, justify herself, earn her way back into favor. But I want to tell you what actually happened, because this is the part of the story you need to hear more than anything else. When she came home, when she finally walked up that familiar road, empty-handed, broken-hearted, full of shame, her father was waiting. He had been waiting every single day, not because he expected her to fail, not because he wanted her to suffer, but because he had never stopped loving her, not for one moment, not for one breath. His love did not depend on her achievements. His love did not require her success. His love was not a reward for her performance. His love was the starting point, the given, the foundation that was never in question. And when he saw her coming, he did not wait for her to reach the door. He did not wait for her to apologize or explain or prove that she had learned her lesson. He ran. He ran to meet her, and he held her, and he wept, and he said, "You are home. You are home. That is all that matters. You are home. This is what I want you to understand. This is the truth that changes everything. You have been living like the prodigal daughter. You have been striving and achieving and trying to prove your worth to a father who never asked you to prove anything. You have been running on a treadmill, exhausting yourself, depleting yourself, all because you believed a lie. The lie that love must be earned. The lie that worth is something you achieve. The lie that if you stop performing, you will be abandoned. But I am telling you now, I am telling you with all the authority of heaven that you are already loved. Right now, in this moment, before you do another thing, before you achieve another goal, before you prove yourself to anyone ever again, you are loved, not because of what you do, because of who you are, because you are mine. The shift you are feeling, this softening, this breaking, this undoing, it is the journey home. It is the release of the desperate need to earn what has always been freely given. And I know it is scary. I know it feels like failure. But it is actually the opposite. It is the bravest, truest, most faithful thing you have ever done. You are finally laying down the burden you were never meant to carry. You are finally admitting that you cannot do this alone. And in that admission, in that surrender, you are finally making room to receive what I have been trying to give you all along. Now let me teach you. Let me take what you have felt in these stories and give you understanding. Let me explain what is happening in your soul and why this transition, as painful as it is leading you somewhere beautiful. The first thing you need to understand is that you were programmed with a lie before you could even speak. This is not your fault. This is not something you chose. But it is something you must now unchoose if you want to be free. The lie came in different forms for different people. Maybe it came through a parent who was never satisfied, a father whose approval you could never quite earn, a mother whose anxiety made you feel responsible for her emotions. Maybe it came through early experiences of rejection or abandonment, a time when you needed something and no one came, a moment when you reached out and were met with emptiness. Or maybe it came through the culture itself, the endless messages that told you your worth is in your productivity, your appearance, your achievements, your ability to be useful to others. However it came, the lie took root. And the lie said this: you are not enough as you are. You must become something else. You must do more, be more, achieve more, in order to deserve love, in order to deserve belonging, in order to deserve a place in this world. And so you built a self, a constructed self, a survival self. This self was not the real you. It was an adaptation, a protection, a performance, designed to win the love you believed you had to earn. And this self served a purpose. It helped you survive. It helped you navigate a world that did not always feel safe. It helped you find your way when you were too young to know any other way. But the survival self was never meant to be permanent. It was a raft to get you through the storm, not a home to live in forever. And now, the storm has passed, or at least, this particular storm, and the raft is sinking, not because you failed, but because you have outgrown it. You have reached the shore. You are ready for solid ground. But you are still clinging to the raft, terrified to let go, because the raft is all you have known. This is the shift. The raft is sinking. The survival self is dying. And yes, it feels like you are dying because part of you is dying. But it is not the real you. It is the mask, the costume, the performance, the part of you that was never really you at all. What remains when the survival self dissolves? The true self. The you that I created before the world got its hands on you. The you that knows how to receive. The you that knows how to rest. The you that knows, in the deepest place, that you are loved, not because of what you do, just because you are. The second thing I need you to understand is this. Receiving is not weakness. It is worship. The world has taught you that strong people give and weak people receive, that capable people produce and needy people consume, that the goal of life is to be so self-sufficient, so independent, so together, that you never have to ask anyone for anything. And you have believed this. You have lived this. You have worked yourself to exhaustion trying to be the giver, the provider, the one who needs nothing. But this is upside down. This is the kingdom of the world, not the kingdom of heaven. In my kingdom, receiving is not weakness. It is trust. It is faith. It is the recognition that you are not the source, you are the vessel, and a vessel that refuses to be filled has nothing to pour out. Think about Mary and Martha. You know the story. Martha was busy, distracted, anxious about many things. She was doing what the world would call the right thing, serving, working, providing. But Mary sat at my feet. She did nothing productive. She contributed nothing practical. She simply received. And when Martha complained, when Martha demanded that Mary get up and help, what did I say? I said Mary had chosen the better part. Why? Not because serving is wrong, not because work is bad, but because Mary understood something Martha did not. She understood that being in my presence was not a prelude to usefulness, it was the point. She understood that receiving from me was not a selfish indulgence, it was the foundation for everything else. She understood that you cannot pour out what you have not first taken in. You have been Martha for so long, busy, distracted, anxious about many things, working, serving, providing, producing. And you have told yourself this was faithfulness. You have told yourself this was strength. But I am telling you now, you have been so busy preparing to be loved that you have never stopped long enough to receive the love already being offered. This is what the feminine energy is about. It is about receiving. It is about trusting. It is about opening your hands instead of clenching your fists. It is about letting yourself be filled before you try to pour out. And I know this is terrifying for you. I know it feels like losing control. I know every part of your survival self is screaming that this is dangerous, that this is weak, that if you stop striving you will disappear. But I am asking you to trust me. I am asking you to believe that there is another way. A way where your worth is not something you earn but something you inherit. A way where rest is not laziness, but faithfulness. A way where need is not shameful but sacred. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. I said those words 2,000 years ago, and I am saying them again to you now. Come to me. Stop running. Stop proving. Stop performing. Let me hold you. Let me fill you. Let me give you what you could never give yourself. The third thing I want you to understand is this. Control is fear wearing a mask of strength. Every time you grip tightly to your life, your relationships, your outcomes, your image, every time you try to manage and manipulate and make things happen, you are acting from fear, not faith. You are saying with your actions that you do not trust, that you believe if you let go, everything will fall apart, that you are the one holding it all together. And if you stop holding, there will be no one to catch you. But here is the truth. You have never been holding it all together. You only thought you were. You have been gripping so tightly that your hands ache. And all the while, it was my hands beneath yours, my strength beneath your striving, my provision beneath your scrambling. You were never alone in any of it. You were never unsupported. You just could not feel my support because you were too busy trying to support yourself. Control is an illusion. The more tightly you grip, the more anxious you become. The more you try to manage every outcome, the more chaos you create. The more you demand certainty, the more uncertainty you attract. Because life was never meant to be controlled. Life was meant to be lived, surrendered to, participated in with open hands and an open heart. Think about a bird in flight. Have you ever watched a bird ride the wind? It does not flap desperately, trying to create its own lift. It does not fight the air, demanding that it behave according to plan. It opens its wings. It catches the current. It trusts. And in that trust, it soars. You have been flapping your whole life, exhausting yourself, fighting against the very current that was trying to carry you. And I am inviting you now to open your wings, to stop fighting, to let the wind take you where it will, not because you do not matter, not because your choices do not count, but because there is a current of love, a flow of grace that has been moving through your life since before you were born. And when you stop fighting it, when you finally surrender to it, you will find that it takes you somewhere more beautiful than anywhere you could have taken yourself. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give you. Not as the world gives do I give to you. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. The fourth thing I want you to understand is something the world rarely talks about, but your body already knows. Your body knew before your mind did. The shift you are experiencing, the exhaustion, the tears, the inability to keep performing, this is not mental breakdown. This is somatic wisdom. This is your body telling you the truth that your mind has been too busy to hear. You see, your body keeps score. Every emotion you did not let yourself feel, your body stored. Every need you ignored, your body recorded. Every time you pushed through when you should have rested, your body took note. And now, after years of being overridden and overworked and treated like a machine, your body is speaking. It is refusing to cooperate with the lie any longer. It is demanding that you listen. The fatigue you feel is not laziness. It is your body saying, "We cannot continue like this." The emotions that seem to come from nowhere are not weakness. They are grief finally finding its way to the surface. The brain fog, the heaviness, the sense that everything is harder than it used to be, these are not failures. They are prophecy. Your body is telling you that something must change. I designed your body to be a messenger, a partner, a guide, but you have been treating it like a servant at best, an enemy at worst. You have pushed through its warnings. You have medicated its messages. You have told it to shut up and keep going. And for a while, it obeyed. But now, it has had enough. Now, it is staging a revolt. And you can either fight it and lose, or you can listen and learn. What is your body telling you? Pay attention. Where do you hold tension? What keeps you awake at night? What makes your chest tight and your stomach clench? These are not just physical symptoms. These are emotional truths, asking to be witnessed. Your body knows you are safe with me. Your body knows that rest is not death. Your body knows that surrender is not destruction. It is your mind that has been confused. It is your survival self that has been afraid. And now your body is leading the way home. Even as your mind kicks and screams and tries to maintain control, trust your body. It has wisdom your thoughts have not yet discovered. The fifth and final thing I want to teach you is perhaps the most important of all. What you resist will persist. What you accept transforms. You have been fighting this transition, resisting it, trying to pray it away or push through it or fix yourself back into productivity. You have been treating this softening like a problem to be solved rather than a passage to be honored. And your resistance has only made it harder. Your fighting has only prolonged the pain. There is a different way, the way of acceptance, not passive resignation that is something else entirely. I am talking about active presence, the willingness to sit with what is, to feel what you have been avoiding, to let the pain speak its message instead of running from its voice. You see, every emotion you refuse to feel gets stored in your system. Every grief you swallow goes somewhere. Every fear you suppress does not disappear, it goes underground, where it gathers strength and waits for the moment when you are too tired to keep it down. This is why the pain keeps coming back. This is why the exhaustion will not lift. You have been running from something that is not trying to hurt you. What would happen if you stopped running? What would happen if, just for a moment, you let yourself feel what you have been avoiding? Not to wallow, not to be consumed, but simply to witness, to acknowledge, to say, I see you, I feel you, I honor what you are trying to tell me. I will tell you what would happen. The pain would move. The stuck places would release. The energy you have been using to keep everything down would suddenly be available for living. You would discover that the thing you feared most feeling fully is actually the doorway to freedom. Be still and know that I am God. I did not say be busy and know. I did not say be productive and know. I said be still, stop, cease, let go, and in that stillness, in that sacred pause, you will find me. You will find yourself. You will find everything you have been running toward in all the wrong directions. Now, let me give you something practical, something you can do, because I did not come to give you more ideas. I came to give you life, and life requires action, not the frantic action of the survival self, but the gentle, faithful action of the soul learning to walk in a new way. Here is what I want you to do tomorrow morning, before you reach for your phone, before you check your email or review your schedule or think about what you need to accomplish. Before you become useful to anyone else, I want you to pause. Just pause. Put your hand on your chest. Feel your heartbeat. That heartbeat is not an accident. I gave it to you. I sustain it. Every single beat is a gift from my hand. And then I want you to say something, out loud if you can, or silently if you must. Say this: I am loved before I do anything today. I have nothing to prove. I am already held. Say it slowly. Let each word land. Feel the resistance that rises the part of you that says this is foolish, that this is not true, that you do not deserve to speak these words. And say it anyway. Say it, despite the resistance. Say it until your body begins to believe what your soul has always known. Do this every morning for 7 days. Not because it is a magic formula, not because the words themselves have power, but because you are retraining your nervous system. You are interrupting the pattern of performance before it can begin. You are teaching yourself a new first thought, not, what do I need to do, but I am already loved. This is small, this is simple, and it will change your life. Here is another practice. This one is harder, but it is necessary. This week, I want you to say no to one thing you would normally say yes to, not because it is bad, not because it is wrong, but because your yes would be coming from obligation, not overflow, from fear, not love, from the desperate need to be useful, not the genuine desire to give. The feminine does not pour from an empty vessel. It protects its resources. It knows that a depleted yes is a dishonest offering. It understands that every time you say yes when you mean no, you are betraying yourself. You are teaching others that your needs do not matter. You are reinforcing the lie that your worth depends on your endless availability. So say no, just once this week, to something you would normally do. And when the guilt rises, because it will rise, it has been trained to rise, do not argue with it. Do not try to convince yourself you are doing the right thing. Simply notice it. Witness it. Say to yourself, I see you. You are old programming. I am learning a new way. The guilt is not truth. It is just habit. And habits can be changed. Here is a third practice. 3 times a day, morning, midday, and evening, I want you to stop whatever you are doing and check in with your body. Close your eyes if you can. Take a breath and scan from the top of your head to the soles of your feet. Ask yourself, where am I holding tension? Where am I bracing? Where am I clenching against life? And here is the important part. Do not try to fix what you find. Do not immediately stretch or massage or take a pill. Just notice. Just breathe into it. Just witness without judgment. Because the act of witnessing, all by itself, begins the release. Your body has been waiting for you to pay attention. It does not need you to fix it. It needs you to see it, to acknowledge it, to stop treating it like a problem and start treating it like a partner. Finally, I want you to do something at the end of each day, before you sleep, before you replay all the things you should have done better, before you plan tomorrow's to-do list. I want you to ask yourself one question. What did I receive today? Not what did I accomplish? Not what did I produce? Not what did I contribute? What was given to me? What did I receive? Maybe it was a kind word from a stranger. Maybe it was the warmth of the sun on your face. Maybe it was a moment of quiet when everything went still. Maybe it was a breath, just a breath that came without effort. These are gifts. These are graces. They are falling on you every moment of every day. But you have not been trained to see them. You have been trained to see what you have done, not what you have been given. Train your mind to notice grace. The feminine lives in gratitude not as performance, but as perception. When you begin to see how much is already being given, the desperate need to chase begins to dissolve. You realize you are not in a poverty that requires endless striving. You are in an abundance that invites simple receiving. These practices are small. They do not require hours. They do not demand that you overhaul your life. But they are seeds, and if you plant them faithfully, they will grow. They will change the soil of your soul. They will create space for something new to emerge. Now, let me bring this to a close. Let me gather up everything we have explored and give you something to carry with you. You came here today feeling like something was breaking, and I have told you the truth. Something is. But it is not you. It is not the real you. It is the false self you built to survive a world that told you love must be earned, that strength must be performed, that rest is laziness and need is weakness. That self was never you. It was a costume, a shield, a survival mechanism that served its purpose for a season and is now ready to be released. What is emerging from underneath that false self is the true self, the self that knows how to receive, the self that knows how to rest, the self that knows, in the deepest place, that worth is not achieved, it is inherited, the self that was there all along, buried beneath the performance, waiting for this moment, waiting for the walls to come down, waiting for the soil to soften, waiting for you to finally be too tired to pretend. This is not breakdown. This is breakthrough. This is not failure. This is homecoming. This is not the end of your strength. This is the beginning of a different kind of strength. A strength that does not depend on your effort. A strength that flows from surrender. A strength that I give freely to all who come to me with open hands. Let me tell you who you actually are. Because I think you have forgotten. You are not a machine. You are not a problem to be solved. You are not a project behind schedule. You are not your productivity or your achievements or your usefulness to others. You are a beloved creation, formed in love, held in love, invited into love. Before you took your first breath, I knew you. Before you accomplished a single thing, I loved you. And that love has never wavered. Not for 1 second. Not through any failure. Not through any season of doubt. My love for you is not a response to your performance. It is the ground you stand on, the air you breathe, the truth that remains when everything else falls away. The softening you feel is not collapse. It is homecoming. The tears you have been holding are not weakness. They are wisdom, finally given permission to flow. You are not falling apart. You are falling into place, falling into the arms that have been waiting to catch you, falling into the rest you have been too afraid to take, falling into the love you have been too busy to receive. Say this with me. If you are ready, say it out loud. Say it to yourself. Say it until your body believes what your soul has always known. I do not have to earn my place. I do not have to prove my worth. I am allowed to receive. I am allowed to rest. I am held by a love that does not let go. Say it again. I do not have to earn my place. I do not have to prove my worth. I am allowed to receive. I am allowed to rest. I am held by a love that does not let go. And one more time, slower. I do not have to earn my place. I do not have to prove my worth. I am allowed to receive. I am allowed to rest. I am held by a love that does not let go. This is your birthright. This is your inheritance. This is what has always been true, even when you forgot, even when you ran, even when you hardened yourself against the very love that could save you. I never stopped pursuing you. I never stopped speaking. I never stopped waiting for this moment, this sacred, holy, ordinary moment when you would finally be ready to come home. If these words have reached something in you, something that has been waiting to be spoken to, something that needed permission to soften, then I want you to stay with me. There is more I want to show you, more I want to give you, not information, not content, communion, connection, the kind of deep knowing that does not come from watching one video, but from walking together over time. Subscribe to this channel, not because I need the numbers, but because you need the reminder. You need a place to return when the old patterns try to pull you back, when the survival self tries to convince you that you imagined this whole thing, when the world starts shouting again and you forget the still, small voice that speaks only in silence. Leave a comment below, not for the algorithm, not to perform engagement, but for yourself, to mark this moment, to say out loud what is stirring in you. And maybe another weary soul will scroll past your words and realize they are not alone in this, that there is a community of people learning to soften, learning to receive, learning to lay down burdens they were never meant to carry. I will be here. I have always been here, through every running, through every striving, through every desperate attempt to earn what was always freely given. I have never left, and I am not going anywhere. Rest now. Not because you have earned it, because I am giving it. Receive now, not because you deserve it, because I delight in giving to those who open their hands. Trust now, not because you understand, but because I am trustworthy, and I love you, more than you know, more than you can feel, more than you will ever fully comprehend on this side of eternity. You are loved, you are held, you are home. And if you forget when you forget, come back here. Come back to these words. Let them wash over you again. Let them remind you of what is true when the lies get loud. This is not a one-time message. This is a well you can return to, a spring that will never run dry, a voice that will never stop speaking, even when you are too tired to listen. The feminine is rising in you, not as a trend, not as a technique, as a remembrance, as a returning, as the most ancient part of your soul finally being given permission to breathe. Welcome home, beloved. I have been waiting for you, and the waiting is over now. The waiting is finally over. Let these words settle into your bones. Let them become part of how you breathe. Let them be the foundation you stand on when everything else shakes. You are not what you do. You are not what you have done. You are who I say you are, and I say you are beloved. I say you are enough. I say you are worthy of rest, worthy of receiving, worthy of love that asks nothing in return.